about Walker Hayes, everybody?
Yeah!
We got a motor.
We're taking to Daytona in February. All right, y'all ready?
Turn the radio on, there was country music I listened to.
Get ready for the finest in musical entertainment and racing on anything on wheels. Ladies and gentlemen, get in tune and start your engines because Music and Motors is now.
Hello everyone and welcome to Music and Motors. I'm Wade Hayes, and on today's show we'll get to know a talented young singer-songwriter, Phoenix Mendoza. Even though his early experiences coming to Nashville were a bit bumpy, he persevered and continued to hone his skills into a marketable talent. And the legendary racing family of Richard and Kyle Petty get a visit from President Bush at their Victory Junction gang camp. And we'll pay a visit to Baker Curb Racing Facility to meet the team and ever so important pit crew. All that and more right here on Music and Motors. We're glad you came along.
This portion of Music and Motors is brought to you in part by your local Ford dealers and by your local genuine Ford parts and service dealer. You're watching Music and Motors.
You probably heard the saying, there's 1,001 guitar pickers in Nashville. Well, I'm here to tell you that is wrong. There's a lot more than that. And just like so many before him, Phoenix Mendoza received a good old welcome to the big city when he arrived with his guitar in a broken old car.
Right now, a single mother is working 2 jobs to keep her 3 kids in school.
I showed up March 9th, 2004 in a Nissan Sentra, a little red one that was missing a 5th gear, didn't have a radio, but it was all I could get. And I pulled in the day before my birthday, and I knew one person in town that I could stay at their house, and they told me that if I would help them build a roof on their house, they would give me a place to crash. I parked the car at the house and get my things together March 9th and decide that I'm gonna go into town and I am going to get a job and really take this place by storm. So I pack up and get dressed in a really nice suit and I go down, and it's the only suit I had. But I go downtown and the car dies on 2nd Avenue. The transmission falls out in the middle of the road. It was great, great thing. And the alternator went out at the same time, it just dies. Well, because it died, I couldn't stay at the new house that I was building a roof on. And I had to stay in town at their other house. They had 2, one that they were doing construction on and one that they were actually sleeping in and living out of. And that night I had to stay there. I couldn't get back to the place I was putting a roof on, and what ended up happening is someone broke in to that house and stole everything I owned except for my 2 guitars. They left 2 guitars sitting in the middle of the room and took everything. TV, CDs, DVDs, clothes, boxes, everything they could get their hand, they took it all. And I wanted to come back. I wanted to go back to Arizona. I wanted to leave. And I called my mom and said, you know, Mom, the car broke down and they stole everything I owned, so I'm coming home. And she said, well, the car got you there and you still have your guitars. So someone's trying to tell you something. And I stuck around.
If you look, there's miracles everywhere. Don't tell me I can't follow my heart and dreams that big don't ever come true. Don't tell me that I can't reach for the stars when there's footprints on the moon.
you just show up, and you gotta pay to play, more or less, is the term that they use around here. But I started I got a little place downtown and started going to this little bar, and it was called the Crossroads. It was right on Broadway, and I wanted to play. I saw these people. They do acoustic writers' nights. That was the thing. 3 people would get up on a stage and they'd play songs that they wrote, and they'd one at a time. And you had to know somebody or have performed for somebody or auditioned, more or less, in order to be allowed to play on these kind of things. And I just thought, I was like, well, maybe I can just go down and show the guy that I know some things. And I ended up sitting at the Crossroads bar for 3 hours. I sat there for 3 hours, and I didn't have any money. I could buy 1 beer. I was 21, so I bought 1 beer and I nursed it for 3 hours. I sat there and I bugged the guy. I was like, let me play? He was like, well, I gotta hear you play, and maybe 2 weeks after that I can get you up. I was like, well, what if somebody cancels? What if someone leaves and you have a hole? Can I get in then? I said, I just don't know. So I sat there right in front of him for 3 hours, staring at him, bugging him. And I saw him pick up the phone and make a cross right across his list. And I walked up to him and said, can I play? And he said, fine, get up there and play your 3 songs. What he didn't know is that before that 3 hours, I had gotten off work doing a construction job, trying to make some money. And I had been sitting at home. I tuned my guitar. I practiced everything I was going to say, everything I was going to play. I had it. I just wanted my 30 seconds of chance, and I had that window. He gave me that chance, and I got up there, and it might have looked like I pulled it out of nothing, but I was rip roaring and ready. And when I got off that stage, he booked me for about 30 more gigs as soon as I walked off. And it started playing writers' nights, started meeting some people, getting around, and one thing will lead to another in this town. It's that initial breakthrough that's and you gotta have the tenacity to stick it out, bug people. Things really started to start taking off. I mean, it's a long, long road, and I'm merely at the first mile marker. What started at Crossroads was recognition, a little bit of recognition and a little bit of desire. I started ending up playing with people who were far better than me in so many rights and in so many different ways. And then I started wanting more, but meeting the right people, and doors started, opening here and there, and from different clubs to different places. And eventually what ended up happening from the Crossroads is I ended up at the Bluebird Cafe, which is the place where Garth Brooks got his record deal, and it's a huge, prominent songwriters club in Nashville. In order to play the Bluebird Cafe, you have to audition in front of the owner, and you get 60 seconds. Of basically a verse and a chorus of a song, and you have to sit there on the stage by yourself, play that verse and a chorus. And if they decide that it's something that they would like you to do again, then you pass the audition and you get to play 9 months from that time. In order to make the audition, the Monday before the audition, you have to start calling at noon. They have 1 phone line. Continue calling till you get through, and that'll book you the audition. If I remember correctly, there was 300 people who had gotten through that day on that Monday, and the audition came around, and I was, I want to say, 93 or 94 in line, standing in line, and one at a time they call you in, you get up on that stage and you get your 60 seconds. I was ready to go. I got my 60 seconds, and I was one of 7 people that passed the audition out of the 300 or so, and I felt really good about that. And out of those 7 people, Koss Weaver over at Warner Chappell, publishing company here in town, had expressed that he would like to come down and see the 7 people that passed the audition for the Bluebird Cafe, and he did. And out of those 7 people, he gave me a call back and said, hey, I'd like to talk to you. I got a publishing deal and started writing songs, and Warner Chappell paid me monthly to play guitar and write songs.
I need you in my life, so please
That's it. There's people in there singing.
Yeah. Is that Crossroads?
That's Crossroads, yeah.
Coming up later in the show, Phoenix returns to where it all began, downtown on Broadway at the Crossroads. Music and Motors will be right back. You're watching Music and Motors.
The Victory Junction Gang is a camp for terminally and chronically ill children located in Randleman, North Carolina. It's part of the Association of Hole-in-the-Wall Camps.
The idea for the camp came from Adam Petty, who was a teenage stock car driver, as well as the son of veteran Kyle Petty, the grandson of 7-time champion Richard Petty, and great-grandson of 2-time champion Lee Petty. In 2000, the Pettys began talks with Hole-in-the-Wall founder Paul Newman about the new venture. On May 12, 2000, Adam Petty was killed in a crash during practice at New Hampshire International Speedway. Kyle and his wife Patty carried on Adam's vision and spent 4 years raising money for and building the camp. On June 20, 2004, Father's Day, Victory Junction Gang Camp welcomed its first campers.
The Victory Junction Gang Camp is no stranger to famous visitors, but it was an extra special treat when President Bush arrived to show support for the work that's happening here. The excitement grew as the motorcade recently made its way through the camp, bringing Mr. Bush for a tour. The President initiated the visit himself, telling Kyle Petty he had heard about Victory Junction and wanted to see firsthand all that it offers to children who have chronic medical conditions. The Pettys were very excited about the visit. And it turns out, so was the President.
You know, it's a remarkable place. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be with the Pettys. The Petty family has been well known for a long time in America. And they've been known as great athletes. Now will be known as great humanitarians as well.
The President toured the camp October 18th, getting a real sense of what happens here. It was a perfect fall day, and Mr. Bush stayed even longer than he had planned, spending time at the Bass Pro Shop dock, taking photos with campers Maddie Lee and Hank Grissom. As fishing lines were cast, he chatted with them about their Victory Junction experiences. Then it was time for some fun at Adam's Race Shop, where President Bush took on a couple of campers in the Lug Nut Challenge.
Ready?
Go!
Righty tight.
While Mr. Bush is president, the campers proved to be kings of the air gun.
All clear.
All clear.
No doubt the president gave all involved some wonderful memories, and camper Dominique Alston reciprocated by giving Mr. Bush a Victory Junction teddy bear and quilt, just like the ones campers receive when they arrive here. It was a great day of showing all that the Victory Junction Gang Camp is, touring with Richard, Kyle, and Patty Petty, meeting the campers, stopping for photos, and sharing the spirit of this special place.
3 claps for President Bush!
A spirit that has now been carried all the way to the White House.
God bless. Thank you, King. Appreciate you, buddy.
We're really
God bless.
During Sound and Speed Week here in Nashville, we had a chance to talk with the King, Richard Petty, and 2008 Daytona champion Ryan Newman on the red carpet.
The natural tie-in. You know, we worked with Curb back in, I guess, '84 and '85, and you know, we didn't really get into the music part of it, and he didn't get into the racing part. So I sort of done my thing, and he done his thing, and it worked out good for both of us. And he was an easy guy to work with, I know that. And we had some good times. Wound up winning our 200th race with Curb.
And that's the car that's in the Smithsonian,
and then they took that car and put it in the museum in Washington. And in fact, it's in the Richard Petty Museum in Randleman for the next 2 years. We went up there and borrowed it from them so that we could have it. So Country and Western and racing kind of goes together, so it was kind of a natural for us to do it together. And it just takes a lot of people to make it work. And we're just glad to be here tonight and see all these people out and supporting country music, but also supporting the Vickers Junction Gang Camp.
Well, I think I'm the only driver that's been here every year for this Sound and Speed event, so that's cool, but I really enjoy the event. I'm really thankful for what the Petties do with the Victory Junction Gang Camp and the kids, and we make it out there once a year usually to go fishing with the kids and spend some time with them. So that's,
Are you a big outdoors guy?
I love the outdoors and really love fishing, so that's something it's special to me to do it, but it's neat to be able to help them and teach them at the same time.
You're watching Music and Motors.
Sponsors, equipment, engineering, and good drivers are all part of the winning formula in racing. But a dedicated crew is ultimately the key to achieving success on the racetrack when it comes down to crunch time. When a car pits, everything and everyone become one fast synchronized machine. It all has to be done in 14 seconds or less, including 4 tires, 20 gallons of fuel, clear the windshield, and make track adjustments. And oh yeah, get out of the way. Each one of the pit crew team has a job, and practice makes perfect.
He could change your fate. Anything but first place to him would never do. If you finish second, you're the first one to lose. Don't look back, that's where you've already been. Keep looking straight ahead, that's where you'll find your win. There's nothing but the losers at the tail end.
That's probably, I don't know, 14. Second stop there, maybe high 13. It's a pretty good one. This right here is Chris Martin. He's our rear tire changer. This right here is Big Butch. Butch Wall, rear tire carrier. Big Tim Murdoch, Russell, I'm done. Ethan, our tire roller for practice here. This here is Donnie Eve, front tire changer. Wee Man, David Colignesi, AKA Wee Man, front tire carrier. And I'm John Boy Reese on the Jackman. Better known as something else, but I can't say it on TV. That was a pretty good stop also. That's way the end of the day right there. A couple good stops back to back. That's what it's all about.
This is Butch Wall with the number 27 Kleenex Ford at Baker Curb Racing. You're watching Music and Motors. Just stay there and we'll be right back.
This portion of Music and Motors is brought to you in part by your local Ford dealers and by your local genuine Ford parts and service dealer. You're watching Music and Motors. It's been years since Phoenix Mendoza walked down Broadway to his gig at the Crossroads Tavern.
There's people in there singing.
Yeah. Is that Crossroads?
It's Crossroads, yeah.
Today, he's back to find that not much has changed. 2 new singer-songwriters on stage. Jerry Williams and Matthew Lee have been in town for just 7 months. To make it at this game, they're on stage for 4 hours straight, for tips only, playing cover and original songs. They were gracious enough to let Phoenix back up on stage.
Jump in, man. Yeah.
Crossroads.
This is the very first place I ever played in town when I got here. Yeah, Lee Rascone used to do a writer's night here. I don't know if he still does. It's kind of weird going back to Broadway, going to Crossroads and playing the old stomping ground. And it was really, really nice those guys let me get up.
City lights and a buzz on the street, another night with you next to me on top of the world. In the bed of my truck, looking down from where only lucky lovers love. That ain't enough.
It's been a long time since I've been in there doing that, and I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, it's an awful lot of years. So I'm kind of glad that I'm past that part. But who knows? Tomorrow I might be back at that part all over again. That's music. The business of.
I appreciate y'all letting us get up there.
Thank you so much.
You guys be careful. Have fun.
Right.
Digging a hat.
Appreciate it.
Now that's all the time we have for this week's show. I'm Wade Hayes. We hope to see you here next week on Music and Motors.
Gentlemen, start. You're watching Music and Motors. Golly, that's a whole. Did it.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much.